Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back to the last segment of the program in the Shades of the Qur'an. And in fact, as we all know that we are coming to the end of the year, so this is the last episode of 2014 even. Before we went on to the break, there was a caller who has phoned in and posed a question which is, I think, very relevant for us as Muslims. And before I move on to the answer, I would like to request, my dear viewers, if you do have any questions related to the topic or even anything in general like previous callers, feel free to dial the telephone number 0208 523 4111. Alternatively, you can stay connected by liking our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sheikh, as you have heard the caller have said about the tolerance level between the Coptic Christians, the Orthodox Christians, the Protestant Christians, and they do not, what he meant, what we understood is they do not indulge in any unnecessary physical activities or even arguing unnecessarily or even calling takfirs.
Yeah.
What is the lesson for Muslim that we can learn from it? Does Islam not gives us this lesson in the first place? Just to add.
Jazakallah. Yes. In today's world, Christians and other religious followers of other religion do seem to have a degree of tolerance more within themselves than Muslims have within themselves. This is perhaps, this is certainly an unfortunate. Islam, yes, and secondly, to answer the question of the brothers who asked the question that do we have anything to learn from it? Yes, we do have things to learn from it. Tolerance of different opinion, tolerance about or tolerating different opinion. In Islam, within Muslims, difference has two levels. One difference is at the level at a very fundamental level. Someone disputing the very fundamental basic tenets and beliefs of Islam.
The pillars of Islam.
The pillars, the aqidah, the beliefs of Islam. Obviously, someone disputing all or any part of those beliefs, those core beliefs, cannot sort of claim to be, cannot logically and reasonably claim to be a Muslim. But there are people who are disputing the fundamental tenets of Islam and still claiming themselves to be Muslim. This is obviously a self-contradiction. So a difference at that level exists, but still it doesn't that even different at fundamental level doesn't call for violence, doesn't call for conflict, doesn't call for intolerance. No. The second level of difference is, as we call them, a secondary level. Difference in practice.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in our salah, when we offer our salah, our prayer, different ways of, let's say, for example, Amin. Saying Amin, some people say loudly and some say quietly. This sort of difference, or some raise their hands. The minor differences.
Mm-hmm.
They do not call for any intolerance. They do not justify any intolerance at all. If a difference at the fundamental level doesn't call for or doesn't justify any conflict or any violence, etc., how could it be that difference at the secondary level could do so? No. So, yes, and there are ample evidences from the past history of Muslims, from the Imams, from the Aimmas, from the great leaders of the faith, after the Prophet ﷺ, the companions and the Sahabis and their
Tabi'eens
companions,
and
Tabi'een,
Tabi'eens, yes.
Tabi'een, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi'i, and they had great respects. Yes, they had differed from one another, and this is a great beauty. This is a great beauty of Islam. Plurality, and pluralism, and what we call, sometimes we may call it, in today's time we may call it even democratic right to be, to differ from you. I have a, so long as, there are etiquette. There is etiquette of difference, and that etiquette, tolerance is part and parcel of the Islamic tradition. It has been practiced by imams and by ulamas in the past, and even today they are
the Salaf al-Salihin. Yes.
But there are some brothers and sisters who are so intolerant about all this. But this is not right.
Yes, but as you said, we agree that Islam teaches these fundamental principles.
That's right.
It encourages us to practice it, but it's unfortunately due to some of the people that we are getting tainted and blamed for it.
That's right, yeah.
My dear brother, I hope that answers your question. And inshallah, if there is any more questions, please feel free to dial in and talk to us, and inshallah, Sheikh will be more than happy to answer your questions. Following our conversation, one of the other aspect of the Christmas season especially, now wishing Merry Christmas. Now, as Muslims, can we participate, or can we wish our neighbors or our fellow professionals, those who are Christian, Merry Christmas? Before that, I've got a caller waiting for us on the line. Let's take the phone call, and inshallah we'll come back to the discussion. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Wa alaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Yes, brother, go ahead, please.
আমি হুজুরের লগে মারতাম চাইলাম আমি জানলাম আজকে 2014 2015 তো আইরো আমি কইতাম চাইলাম যে আমি চ্যানেল এস আমি ভিউ করলাম as a Bangladeshi channel. I'm very proud আপনারা যে প্রোগ্রাম হল দিরা।
Thank you.
And হ্যালো গুন্ডানি আপনারা।
জি please continue.
আমি ওটা কইতাম চাইলাম যে আমরা অখনকু যে অবস্থা হইছে অখনকু মানে যে ঈদ সেলিব্রেট করকা, কিন্তু যারা ক্রিসমাস সেলিব্রেট করছেন খাইতে আসুন নানি সেলিব্রেট করছেন ক্রিসমাস, এটা তো সাফ হারাম ইসলামত কইছেন।
ওকে,
মেসাবে হলেও কইছেন যারা মানে এনজয় করা, পার্টি করছেন, সেলিব্রেশন করছেন। আমি ক্লিয়ার ফরওয়ার্ড কইরাম, আমি ওয়েলস্টনে মাত্রাম, নিউপোর্ট কোয়েন্ট, এটা সাফ হারাম, এটা সাফ, the mesab even telling me that it's haram to celebrate Christmas.
Okay.
So আমি হুজুরে কইবো, হ্যালো
জি খোকা, আমরা শুনি।
আমি হুজুরে কইবো আপনারা ক্লিয়ার করে খোকা যে ক্রিসমাস সেলিব্রেট করা সাফ হারাম।
ওকে, ঠিক আছে। আর কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে নি আপনার? Okay, I think the caller dropped the line. Please feel free to come back if you do have any more questions. Yes, what do we say to this caller's answer that based on different scholars, according to him, that they have said that it is not allowed? But before I move into that, also I've asked you the question about wishing Merry Christmas as Muslim. Are we allowed to do so?
Well, living in multi-faith, multicultural and multiracial community or society as we are living today, we have interaction with other people, we have a relationship with other people, we have neighbors who are not Muslims, we have colleagues who are not Muslims, we have business partners who are not Muslims, and things and so on and so forth. And at a very normal and usual level, at a human level, this interaction means that we wish, part of this interaction is that we wish each and everyone, each other very, we wish them well, and therefore wishing them well and keeping good relationship with them and maintaining good terms with them as neighbors, as colleagues, as partners, there is no harm in it. Brother, Islam allows it, because Islam does encourage Muslims to be good to their neighbors, even though they are non-Muslims, to be kind. Colleagues, yes, to be kind
to our neighbors.
لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. in Surah Al-Mumtahana, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, clear. And so generally speaking, whether it is Christmas or whether it is at any other occasion, maintaining good relationship and good terms with our Muslim, our non-Muslim neighbors, our non-Muslim citizen, other fellow citizens is not only a commendation but is a requirement of a Muslim.
And this is one of the aspects that we can propagate the true message of Islam. If our behavior is not correct, then how can we propagate or do da'wah?
That's right. I mean, people might differ, even ulamas and scholars might differ in having agreed on this general principle that Muslims must maintain good relationship with their neighbors, with their colleagues, with their partners. This is a matter of agreement. There is no disagreement about this. How to maintain it? In that case, going down when it comes to that level, practical level, people might differ as to do this or do not that.
Especially taking into consideration when we are at work, we have a professional relation, not only at work, but outside work, where we know a lot of promotions, a lot of progress is involved with these things.
I gave an example. For example, salam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala.
Greetings.
Greeting, Islamic greeting, salam. Scholars have difference about whether Muslim says to Muslim assalamu alaikum, but a Muslim saying to a non-Muslim assalamu alaikum, or a non-Muslim sometimes says assalamu alaikum to you, whether to say wa alaikum assalam or not.
But then there is also another opinion, Ahl Kitab and non-Muslim.
No, well, we're talking about
general, including the Ahl Kitab.
Including Ahl Kitab. Okay. There are opinions. There are opinions within the Islamic circle, with Muslim scholarly opinion. There is Muslim scholarly opinion that saying assalamu alaikum to other than Muslims, or replying to them when they say assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam is perfectly all right. There are opinions. So it depends on where we are. It depends on the context. Where if we are living in a context today where Muslims are blamed to be partition, Muslims are blamed to be
creating segregation or isolation.
So in this sort of thing, what I would say, and this is my personal feeling, and I have I know that there are many who share the same view, is that we do not initiate saying, well, this and this and that, Merry Christmas or things like that. But if someone says to us Merry Christmas, we might say, well, seasonal greetings to you. Seasonal greetings. We might say seasonal greetings even
oh, may you have a better 2015, or may God bless you or guide us all.
Yes, that's right. So this sort of way, even initiating, we can say seasonal greetings or greetings of the season. We can say it to maintain our social interaction at a good and acceptable level. Yes.
And that also means that we have to always uphold our true identity and belief at any cost.
That's right.
But that doesn't mean we're creating a difference or creating an isolation with other communities.
No, we don't. We do not encourage Muslims to celebrate birthday. I said at the very beginning,
yes.
We do not encourage even celebrating the birthday of our own Prophet ﷺ. How about Isa ﷺ? However, as a social function, if others celebrate and Muslims being neighbor, being part, if they sort of pass by, if they attend, if
or
they
as you
sometimes
said, seasonal greetings.
That's right.
Yeah.
There is. I would say there is no harm in, so long as someone is aware what someone is doing, and someone is aware that this is not the way that we Muslims show our respect to Isa alayhi salatu wasalam by celebrating his birthday or by saying Merry Christmas, etc.
And showing respect does not mean that I have to indulge in their religious faith or belief.
Exactly.
But rather, Islam tells us to be in the middle path. We can be diplomatic about these issues. And as you have mentioned, instead of wishing them Merry Christmas, we wish them seasonal greetings, or may you have a better 2015, or even may God bless you or guide us all along that line.
That's right.
Now, obviously, connected to this theme is a Muslim revert. Now, he faces challenges, especially during Christmas, being a revert. And say, for instance, if he is the only person in his whole family that is Muslim, and the rest of all his family are Christian still. And now, during the Christmas time, it is an only opportunity where all the families get together, sit at one table, and have a good time. Now, being a Muslim, and as he knows that they are Christians, and obviously he has maybe a restriction in terms of engaging in religious ceremony or activities. Now, how can he resolve and balance this issue of not making look that Islam creates an isolation between him and the family, at the same time not engaging in any other religious activities that may be attributed to the association of shirk or committing a sin?
Well, there are two things here, as I said earlier. The same thing applies here as well. Maintaining relationship with his parents and family, his or her parents and family, at a social level. This is not only beneficial, but it is in a way required, and it's in commended as well, that a revert or convert Muslim or Muslimah remains with good terms and relationship with his parents and his father and mother and others. And for doing that, when they meet up, well, this is how I see it personally. When they meet in gatherings in Christmas, and he or she is invited, it is not necessary, not essential for him or her to respond to such invitation, but if he or she can go, yes, to maintain the social connection, social level, I think this is fine. Secondly, as a Muslim or Muslimah, he or she would be aware of the Islamic belief about about Isa alayhi salatu wassalam. That Isa alayhi salatu wassalam is not a son of God, and Isa alayhi salam is not a part of divinity. So long as he or she is aware of that, and so long as he or she avoids any activity that actually involves, like prayer, for example, prayer to Jesus alayhi salatu wassalam, Isa alayhi salatu wassalam, if he or she avoids and must avoid,
abstain from it,
abstain from that sort of prayer,
because this leads to shirk.
That's right, this leads to shirk. I think maintaining social level contact in that way is fine. Rather, it might be depending on what's the intention. If this intention is to introduce Islam to them and get the message of Islam to them,
and it's a best opportunity.
Yes, through interactions, it is a good thing.
And one of the other aspects when it comes to food doesn't necessarily mean they will always have anything to do with meat, or we can surely try vegetables or other things that could be vegetarian. Or if they know our choice, I'm sure the families would take that into consideration and cook accordingly.
This is very very much a common practice nowadays here in this country, in this society, that when a gathering of people from different cultures, different ethnicity or different faith come together, the foods are meal or foods are arranged in a way. The halal meals are available, and if not,
vegetarian foods are available. This is the beauty of the country that we live in, mashallah, in comparison to all the other countries, our neighboring countries.
So, but even if it is not available, then one wouldn't take any food. There's no harm in it.
There's no harm in it. Or maybe a glass of juice. There are so many other alternatives options available. And also connecting to that, the same way we don't engage in other people's religious activity. We do not force other religious organizations, not necessarily Christians, to engage in our religious festivals. Say, for example, Eids. We do not force them.
Yeah.
It's up to them whether they come, whether they engage.
Yeah.
So I think that's a balance. I don't know why media or socially we always see that Muslims create isolation, but it is the same way that we do not force others to celebrate religious festival in our faith.
That's right.
We shouldn't be also freely or going with the intention to celebrate other religious festivals.
Right, yeah.
Now, I know we are coming to the end of the program. Before that, I have some important question. Our youngsters, especially those who are in schools taking RE lessons, now they are being taught about Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Not necessarily whatever they have been taught are in line with the Islamic beliefs and aqidah. Now, how do we make sure that our youngster, our young generation, are being taught the correct method and understanding of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam according to Islam?
Well, thank you. This is a very practical and very important question too. There are two things. One is called religious education, and another is called religious instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Education is just about giving information about any other faith, all other faiths, multi-faith. Multi-faith education is called, multi-faith religious education is called here in this country. So, learning about other religions, their beliefs, their creeds, their practices, etc., the way they pray, etc., just for the sake of learning and understanding and multi-faith relationship, good multi-faith relationship. This is one way of, this is called religious education. But religious instruction is different. Instruction is raising raising children in the respective faith, raising them up in their respective faith, to practice it, to believe in it, to practice it. Now, this second part is left to the parents and their families. So, what is happening in school in the name of multi-faith education, RE, or religious education or multi-faith education, this is fine. This is fine because children are only learning about the other faiths just to understand them, just to know them, not to practice them, but not to be instructed in them. So then it remains. Then it is left for us, our families at home and our masajid and our community, that we need to make sure that our children are instructed in our own faith at our homes
at the very young age.
That's right, at the very young age, at our homes, at our masajid, and so on and so forth.
And of course, to build a community cohesion, they can participate, but at the same time, they do not need to compromise with their belief and ideology. Now, before I have the other thing I wanted to also discuss, one of the important aspects, living in the Western culture and Western society, one of the important aspect and issue is that we have to propagate the message of Islam. But in order to propagate the message of Islam, we also have to understand what does their religious scripture talks about Islam, or do they talk anything about the coming of the last prophet, so on and so forth. How important it is for us as Muslim living in the West to study comparative religion, or in other words, is it important for us to understand the Qur'an and Sunnah first and practically implement it and then study the comparative religion?
Well, of course. First of all, we need to know our own faith. We need to ground ourselves, and particularly well educate and prepare our children, our young people in our own faith. That's our duty. Now, what others say about Islam, about the Quran, about Prophet ﷺ, it does concern us, but we it is not within our control to shut their mouth.
Of course not.
Even during the life of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Quran and the Islamic history and Hadith, and the Prophet ﷺ's life is a witness that opponents of the Prophet ﷺ, opponents of Islam, did say many things about Islam, about the Quran.
Even
the Quran was sihr, it's black magic. The Quran was poetry, and the Prophet was sahir, and the Prophet was a liar, and whatnot. They have all said. So people have said this about Islam, about Quran in the past. They have been saying all this, and they will say in the future. So how we respond to all this, it depends on us. we must not be violent, we must not be abusive to people who oppose us and who raise questions, who criticize us. No, that's number one. Number two, I'm saying it just very briefly. Number two, yes, it makes sense. Studying comparative religion is not for everybody. Everybody doesn't need it. There must be, like in any other field, there are specialists in every field. So within Islamic fold, within the Muslim community, there are people who, who are specialist people who know other religion, so that they can then in turn educate their own people about other religions.
And as you have said, interfaith dialogues and those.
That's right. So it makes sense, whoever is studying interfaith relationship or what do you call interfaith studies, it makes sense that one is grounded first in his or her own faith, and then goes around studying other faiths as part of the comparative religious studies. So yes, coming back to your question, yes, one needs to learn one's own faith first in childhood, in young age, and then
just in case if they get misled.
Right, yeah.
Okay, my last question would be, any final thoughts about our youngsters who will be off? This is a holiday period, at least around between 2 to 3 weeks to at least a month. They'll be off from either the school, colleges or universities. What best advice you can give in 30 seconds in terms of utilizing their time sensibly during this holiday period?
Well, I would just remind them one of the hadiths of our Prophet ﷺ, that you make the best use of 5 things before these things are over, these things are finished. One of them is firagaka qabla shughlik. When you are you do not have anything to do, you have leisure, you are in leisure and you have leisure time, free time. So use your free time very minutely, very carefully, and very usefully. Use your time, because
we can use it in different sports activities or Islamic institutions, or learn something new.
Learn something, physical activities, family helping with the family.
Or participate in local activities.
Yes, that's right. Participating in some of the voluntary activities around the community, in masjid, in charity organizations, and so on and so forth.
Not only it will be beneficial, not only will we gain sawab with that intention, but also he can add a skill to his on the CV.
That's right.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jazakallah Sheikh, for all your discussion. And inshallah, I hope that a lot of our viewers have been enlightened today. And thank you very much for being here and giving us your valuable time.
Thank you very much. Thanks to you for hosting this program, and thanks to all the viewers of Channel S. And inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we wish all of you good time every time, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us and all our good efforts and good works that we are trying to do, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
With this, my dear respected viewers, we have come to the conclusion of today's program. From our discussion today, with that we have learned that Islam is the only non-Christian faith that makes it an article of faith to believe in Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. No Muslim is a Muslim if he does not believe in Isa alayhi salatu wassalam. We believe he was one of the mightiest messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, born miraculously, who spoke in the cradle to defend his mother's honor. May Allah give us the ability to preach, practice and propagate the true teaching of Islam. And especially this time, I think this is one of the perfect time when our fellow Christian brother and sister will see us refraining or abstaining from celebrating Christmas. They will ask us questions. Why don't we utilize this time to propagate the true message of Islam and inform them about how important role Isa alayhi salatu wasalam play in Islam? May Allah ease all the difficulties and give us the ability to do all the hard work, do necessary works, and of course, most importantly, implement it in our daily day-to-day life, the true teaching of Islam. With this, that's all from me, your host Qamar Islam, for today. Wherever you're watching us across the globe, do stay well, look after yourself and each other, and most importantly, let us stay together, let us be united, as we know, unity is strength. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. السلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله. جزاك الله.